Hey all, Chad here. Sorry if I look a little messy, but I just had lunch and I'm still a little, digesting. And there is something that is troubling my digestion and is pissing me off, so I gotta get it out of my system. The Fine Brothers have made a new show called Does It Hold Up or something like that, where they're having a panel of obnoxious young people analyzing shows from like the 80s and 90s and asking them if it still holds up now. No, it's not really surprising. It's their shtick. They make people reacting, but they chose the most obnoxious, clueless young people I've ever seen. Their reactions are a cringe fest. It's basically they don't understand the jokes. Oh, by the way, the show they try to ask them if it holds up is Seinfeld, one of my favorite shows of all time, seminal shows that inspired so many writers. Larry David, like it or hate him, is a genius, and Seinfeld is a very important piece of comedy that shaped how TV it still influences how a lot of TV shows are made now, and they really trashed it, but not because they didn't like it, because they didn't understand it, and it's crazy because it's not a complicated show. It's not really a show for smart people, you know. Seinfeld, it's a really inclusive show that appeals to everyone normally, but they were, they didn't understand the jokes. They were saying, "Oh, but this Seinfeld character is a bad person." Yeah, that's the whole premise of the show. That's the principle. We don't love with them. We love at them, and they were getting really riled up at fictional characters. They were sympathizing with fictional characters to the point where it was insane. Basically, it was a gangbang of virtue signaling. It was disgusting from start to finish. So the point of their little show was to say that Seinfeld wouldn't hold up right now, and they said one obnoxious kid said that Twitter would explode. Yeah, that's a good thing. Twitter is a shithole. It's a dumpster fire where only extremists, have a voice, and it's a bunch of commies and Nazis, and it's really just authoritarianism. It's absolutely toxic. If Twitter reacts negatively to something, then that thing is probably good. It's a sign. If Twitter is against it, then it's probably a good thing. If Twitter likes something, it's probably a red flag. But basically the bottom line of their little skit was to say that Seinfeld wouldn't hold up in 2018, and I'm not even going to argue with that. It's an opinion that you can have. They can not find Seinfeld funny if they want. I'm not going to, say that their opinion is wrong because an opinion has no intrinsic value. It's all really subjective. They don't find Seinfeld funny? Fine. Pun intended. It's an opinion after all. I'm not going to argue against it. But what I really want to show is what they find funny. So if they don't find Seinfeld funny, what makes them laugh? What do they like? So there's on their Instagram a caption challenge. Hashtag caption this. They post a photo of themselves. They don't do that anymore, but they did it a couple of years ago. So when there was, when they tried to trademark the word react and tried to sue everyone who made reaction videos on YouTube, that was funny also. They're really interesting characters. And they post a photo, and they ask their fans. They have 1 million fans 1 million followers on Instagram. Subscribers, I don't know, the followers, who cares? So here's this picture of one of the Fine Bros at a restaurant with a little paper towel, like a child, there. And for some reason, he has a fork and a serrated knife. That's a bread knife. That's not a knife that you use to eat. I don't know why he has this in his hand like this. Is it supposed to be funny? Nobody seemed to pick up on it. And they had a caption challenge where they asked all their fans to caption this, to make it into a funny meme. So I'm going to read you 4 captions that their fans have suggested. Here's one. When the waiter brings you food. Here's another one. OMG, is that cake? And there's a lot of question marks and exclamation points. Next, when your mom buys Chipotle. And number 4, Ken has a steak. So, you might think that I've chosen the worst in the comment section. You might think that I've cherry-picked the worst possible comments to make them look bad. Or you may think that I picked the ones that were on top at random. No, those are the best. Those are the best comments. Those are the best captions handpicked by the Fine Brothers themselves. This is what they want. This is what they try to make us laugh at. This is the kind of shit that if people like them have their way, comedy will become. Some extremely simplified, sanitized. It's a steamroller that they put on comedy so that nothing, everything is flat. So if you think about it, what they're made their business upon is reaction channels. And if you think about it, reaction videos are the opposite of comedy, because there is something that is intrinsically spontaneous, made by common people, made by everyone, basically. And it's an instant reaction at something that you just saw, when you react right now in the spur of the moment. And it's the opposite of comedy, which is a reflection that sometimes takes time. Sometimes it takes a year to write a good joke. I've watched a lot of interviews of comedians, all kinds of comedians, who explain their process. And sometimes it's long, sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's painful. But there's always a thing that at the heart of comedy, that we were talking about it in a recent episode of my podcast. I hope that you listen to my podcast. And when we concluded that one of the most important things in good comedy is curiosity. It's curiosity. It's the comedian asks himself questions about the world that is around him, and try to come up with funny questions, funny worldviews, to make people laugh. And at the heart of it is, it's curiosity. It's an interest of what is around you. And if you think about it, a reaction channel is like the polar opposite of that. It's when you are a good reactor, when you react good. I really saw people who had a LinkedIn bio as a reaction channel, and their top skills were I react good. Well, if you react good, that means that you're easily surprised. And if you're easily surprised, it means that basically you're a moron who doesn't really understand what happens around him and knows nothing, because the easily surprised are people who have seen nothing, know nothing, and are exactly like the fucking the clowns, the Christian clowns, insane clown pussy. They remember fucking magnets. How do they work? They see anything around them, a flower, a cloud, someone singing, and it's a miracle. That's exactly the spirit of reaction channels. It's the ability to be surprised by just anything and react to just anything. And in that case, They were surprised at the joke in Seinfeld, which are really, it's not a show that it's that clever. It's original, especially for its time. It was something really different that was on TV at the time, but it's not that intellectual. You don't need a high IQ to understand Seinfeld. You just need basically an open mind. And what these kids have is the exact opposite of an open mind. Everything about them is closed. And I think that what the Fine Brothers are trying to make with comedy, not especially them, they're just an example. I'm not angry against them in particular. They're just a symptom of the disease. Yeah, they're just one a microbe against in the middle of a colony of bacteria or whatever you want to say. And it's an extremely close-minded show that they made with Does It Hold Up? And I think that people like them are trying to close the minds of people, and that's what is really scary about this, and that's what made me angry and pissed off and upset. I rarely have seen some as much close-mindedness as in this show by the Fine Brothers. And these kids, 18 to 29, so I'm not part of the demographic. I'm a bit older than that, but I was 29 a few years ago, and I was clearly not that close-minded. Maybe when I was 18, I was kind of a dumbass, and I was kind of a shithead when I was 18. Sure, but that everyone is at 18 years old kind of a dumbass and kind of a shithead. If you're not, you probably have a problem with you. But that's not the point. The point of this video, the bottom line of this video, why am I making this, is that how to react. I'm making a reaction video, and you're saying, you're against reaction videos, but what you're doing is a reaction videos. And I'm not against reaction videos. I'm saying they are the opposite of comedy. I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm not trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to make a point. So it's fine to react in this context. And my point is that all these negative stuff that these people have against us, and all these hate, you could see these teens, these young adults seething. They were fuming, they were really angry, and all this negative stuff. We got to fight against it. And how to fight against negativity? We got to fight with positivity. How do we fight? How do we survive against this wave of close-mindedness, of authoritarianism, of sanitization? How do we fight against it? With likes. Every time you see someone on the internet that makes good comedy, that makes real jokes, give him likes. You see a real show that makes real good comedy on Netflix, leave him a good review, give him 5 stars. You hear a good podcast with people speaking openly, really speaking their mind and having a real conversation, give him 5 stars on or whatever, Audio Boom or iTunes, and that's how we can make our voices heard. That's how we can fight back against this steamroller that they've set up against us. And that's how we will maybe prevail, but it's not even important. They can have their safe space if they want, but we cannot let that stand. We have to at least do something, and what best can we do but support all the good artists, all the great comedians that aren't afraid of making jokes that are real jokes, that are real comedy. And give them likes, subscribe to their Patreon if they're struggling, give them 5 stars on Netflix. I'm not giving any names. I don't really have any specific names in mind, but I let you judge of that. And we really have to support real comedy, real discussions, and people who have open minds, because these are dark times. When a show like that happens, does this hold up? Well, we want to hold up. We want to show the world that we hold up. We, the real comedians, the real funny people, the real people, the real humans, against these fucking robots. Those are like robots with no genitals, no specific opinions on anything, and it's everything is flat, nothing, no color, no texture, just really robotic shit. And we, the real humans, with real emotions, real feelings, real aspirations, and spirits, minds that work. We ask ourselves questions. We have desires. We have flaws and weirdness and quirks. And also sometimes we want to be normal, and sometimes we want to be weird, and sometimes we don't care. And most of all, we want to think for ourselves. If you want this to continue, find people online that you like, that speak their mind, that are open about their feelings, whatever they are, whoever they are. Find people who don't have these Pavlovian reactions, that don't even think before speaking. Find people who are real people. Like them, subscribe to them, talk about them to your friends, share their stuff on everything, Facebook, Reddit, your circle of friends, email, your family. Give likes, subscribe, give 5 stars on Netflix, and let comedy survive, and let the humor be humor. Whether it's offensive or not should not be a concern of anyone, because when you think about it, offensive means nothing, and it's an entirely subjective thing, and it's absolutely meaningless as a metric of anything. So yeah, that was kind of a long rant, but it's dear to my heart. I hope that you understand what I mean, and I hope that I didn't bore you with all this talk. That was really serious talk. And the comedy channel will resume ASAP. Thanks. Have a nice day or night, what time is it where you're watching, and peace.